my God.
Yeah.
You got everybody up close and personal this morning.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning into this month's conversation with the producer. I think we're in year 2 or 3 of this. And this is the first time that I was told that I'm going to do this with someone from Oklahoma. Joe just told me it's our turn. And he asked me who I would like to focus on in this. And I picked Cherie Lindsay. You got a little bio from Joe about Cherie. I can tell you, we're going to get into who she is and everything about her soon. You'll ask questions. Or really, the conversation with Purser. I wanted Cherie and I on the same camera together because I've always dreamed of doing a interview like William F. Buckley used to do his interviews. If anyone's a fellow traveler or knows William F. Buckley, go ahead and like that. But anyway, I'm excited to welcome Cherie because she's become a powerful example of what it looks like when an agent makes the shift from simply being an agent to being an agency owner and making moves toward being an agency owner. And that's a big deal. There's a big difference. And our industry has changed. Everyone here knows that your comp is based on being an agency owner and not just an insurance agent. She's truly building a agency with her vision and purpose here in Claremore, Oklahoma. She's chosen to be very proactive in a hard market. And this is a hard market, which doesn't mean it's difficult. It means it's hard with raising rates and not being exactly where companies think they should be. But she's been very proactive by investing in herself, in her agency, and her future with her clients. One of my favorite sayings is lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. That's Proverbs 10:4, for those of you who'd like to look it up, but lazy hands make for poverty. That perfectly exemplifies this woman to my right. I'm reminded of this because she is doing what it takes on the spirit of building something through diligence, through hard work, through investing in herself. She's choosing a time to build out what she truly wants. Cherie, why don't you jump in and tell everyone how you got started with country? And then let's start there.
So I had the honor of working with Michael Trupia for 11 years. That started out like as an office manager and then him teaching me to build a quote, how to sell that, and everything just kind of kept morphing into a different position and me growing. Something that he said that always has stuck in my mind: anybody could do this job if you're coachable. You just have to listen and do what you're being told. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I just would do what he would tell me to do, and then I would come back to the office, like networking with lenders or realtors. I had no idea what I was doing, but I had to start somewhere. So I would just go out and do it. Then I'd get back to the office and I'm like, well, what about this? And what about that? And he would guide me through everything.
And you did that for how long?
11 years.
And you loved selling. You just wanted to be in sales.
When I interviewed with him, I said, I don't want to sell anything. I don't like to sell.
Interesting. Okay, and then after 11 years, what happened?
I went out on my own.
How'd that end?
It was just kind of the perfect opportunity to take a risk and do it. Bite the bullet.
So,
I just texted them, everyone, so hopefully they'll pop back on. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna dial back in, guys.
Okay, so where were we? In the chat, Heather marking on this. Okay, all right, we're back. Okay.
I think you're good. I have no idea what happened. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so what I wanted to say is, uh, in 2021, it needs to be an agent and our own agency. When you interview her, I said, yeah, absolutely. And, she came to my office. And after knowing her for 11 years, the interview was basically, okay, so you want to do this? Yeah. All right, what do you think about Monday? And so then she started. And she's done good since then. She's done well. She knew our systems, easiest hire I've ever had because, she went from doing auto and home changes and writing business at the troop agency into our office and doing it for herself. I didn't have to train her, didn't have to do anything. She was self-sufficient. It was fantastic. So started Monday. 4 years, about 4.5 years now, almost, and doing fantastic. So I want to ask, let's start with a couple of questions. Cherise, and 4 years that you've been an agent, how many All-Americans have you been on? How many have you earned?
I think that's 0, but it's gonna change.
None? Your average? I mean, this is conversation with the producer. I don't, okay, anyway. We'll see where this goes then. None, I didn't know that. How many All-Star?
1.
One All-Star, okay. Everyone drop some applause in there for Cherise, one All-Star. Okay. So why is Cherie on here? Why did I say to Joe, yeah, I'll do September's, but I want Cherie on there? Well, I don't think my conversation with producers has been fantastic. But if you are a brand new agent or you're trying to find your way, you're trying to build your agency, you may get one or two little nuggets from some high producer people. Cherie and I spoke, we had a conversation, is that people are going to be able to leave here and they're going to say, wow, I see myself in this woman. I can do what she's doing. I can be proactive, I can plan. I think you're going to enjoy the next few minutes we spend together. Cherie's fantastic. You guys are going to love this. Okay. Another phrase I come back to often that I like it, the Oklahoma reps like to repeat it and make fun of me, but you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make more. And if we're in a market right now that's kind of hard, maybe our close ratios are down, and maybe our retention's down a little bit. And is that our fault? No, not our fault. Not the company's fault that in the past 17% of insurance clients will shop, and now it's up over 40%. That's just indicative of the market. That's just what's happened over the last few years. But that doesn't negate the change that we're running agencies and we need to build something. We need to figure it out. If you ran a McDonald's and all of a sudden there's E. coli breakout, you can't just shut your doors. You got to figure out what to do. You get these somewhere else or something. So we can figure out what to do different. So I'm very proud of Cherie this year when we were all down at in Ridge and Dallas. She's chosen the path of diligence, embracing tools and systems that are gonna allow her to grow. So we get back from Ridge, and she met Barry Rudden, and she invested immediately. She was the only one in Oklahoma that did. She is embracing the multi-line sales mastery to sharpen her skills to become better at what she does. And it took a couple months, and I would drive up here and we'd have lunch together. Much to her dismay that I would come up here on Tuesdays and we'd have lunch, but to watch Barry's coaching together. And then I started to see things changing in Sheree. I've never seen her confidence higher. Talk about that. Talk about how your confidence has changed from a year ago to today.
Well, I always like to throw out, so I inherited a client, he thought he was getting $100,000 life insurance policy. A year ago, I would have said, oh, I'll take care of that right now, just give me all of your info, we'll do it. Because I'm doing this training with Barry, I refused to do it. I explained to him that I wanted to have a conversation with him and his wife. And I ended up writing 2 policies, not just one, and for much higher than what he was anticipating doing.
When she says she inherited, it was from a former agent who has left and didn't write the policy before he left. And he just called Sheree and said, I need that policy. But instead of jumping on some easy sale, she did the right thing and protected that client and their family. So you didn't just sign up for Mastering Multi-Line with Barry, which is an ongoing endeavor. You also sign up for the B file, the drive appointments, set appointments for you and your agency. And to get the right person on your team, you engage with Ideal Traits. And by the way, if you haven't engaged in Ideal Traits, she and I will sit here and watch some of the videos. They were fantastic, just so much fun. So talk about why. Why all of a sudden, last February, did you go to Enrich and say, I'm gonna spend $6,000 do the B file at how much money?
Doesn't matter at the end of the day.
We have engaged Ideal Traits to help find me. What clicked? What was different? You've been doing this for 4 years, 11 years before that, but 4 years in your own agency. And all of a sudden you go to Enrich and you say, yeah, I need it. You know what? I'm gonna use some of these outside vendors.
Well, I had a part-time assistant at the time that was not pulling her weight, like somebody calling in wanting a quote. She'd give me some basic information and leave out the date of birth, and in Texas, I am beyond frustrated, and I'm like, she's gotta go. And just really needing to totally change directions for everything, because we're all feeling the market. We're losing so much on the back end, and it's like, what do you do? I just felt like I was at this moment, like, I'm not just gonna lay down and just let this take over me. I'm gonna dig in, and I gotta make it work. So I decided to invest in things.
So like IBM used to say, when there was a recession or a downturn in their market, and their sales, what they would do is they wouldn't invest in more advertising. They invested in training, their training department. And I see that that's what you're doing. You're investing in your agency at a hard time to do it. So what do you think these steps are going to position you for the milestones in the future? How is it going to change, or how has it changed the last 6 months running the Lindsay agency?
Well, B-File will set appointments as many as you want. You tell them how many you want a day, how many you want a week. They're gonna do a better job than any assistant you could ever pay. And I would challenge you to that. If I'm wrong, you tell me, because I've had a few assistants and they've done way better. And I'm paying a staff more than what I pay B-File. So anybody you want to call, they'll do win-back calls, they'll do your review calls, whatever you can dream up, they will set those appointments for you. The Barry training, it all just kind of goes together. I mean, the B-File gets me the appointment, I do the review. Now I'm gonna set another appointment to just talk about stuff that I've learned from Barry's side.
And what kind of commitment is that to mastery, multi-line sales mastery?
So we have adopted the 45 minutes a day. So first thing when you come in, you're not gonna open your laptop, you're emails, none of that's coming up, just log in, do a couple of those training modules. It truly does change your mindset for the morning. You're starting off on the right foot, all of that verbiage is in your head. So now if you're talking to clients, you're gonna get another appointment or something else out of that.
Excellent. So what she's referring to is I started coming up here to do various training with her, or the coach every Tuesday. And I could see how it was changing, how she thinks and how she talks and how she would run appointments. And so I kind of versed in various training with her. And it's because of Cherie's leadership now that we have 5 people in Oklahoma who've all invested in their futures, and we have our own study group. We meet for an hour after Barry's coaching, so Cherie and I are gonna be here, and then we have an hour coaching at noon. And then we're gonna have a working lunch though, because that's what we do here. And then after that, we're gonna have our agency or our district study group. And it's a fast start. We're calling it a fast start study group to get our life production up and going. She's right. What we do is we've all committed to time in the morning before starting your day. If we open an email, we know that our day has started. And as much as we want to control it, it can spiral, it can take you wherever you want. Before that, we all commit to time reviewing various modules and the training, which is, it needs daily reinforcement and work because it's a lot, but it's gold, it's fantastic. So, all right, you've made these changes. You have ideal traits to help you hire, you have B-file to set appointments, you have multi-line sales mastering, which you've adopted. You've been a leader in the agency with it. Because of it, we have a study group. Let's talk about the results of various programs. Multi-line sales master. When did you start it? No, we're not muted.
I started it in the springtime.
Okay.
I don't remember what month.
May, June.
It was probably April or May,
Okay.
whenever that started.
And then you really started to get involved and use it in July, August. Talk about your first appointment. Was that in July or August?
Probably August.
Okay. Talk about the first one using the Berry system. What happened?
I called Mark. Most of you don't know me. I cut like a sailor. And I could tell Mark wasn't by himself. And I'm like, oh, I'll watch what I say. But his wife was with him and she's like, I've heard it all. But I said, Mark, I cannot believe this. I just wrote 2 $1.3 million policies with 0 objection. I walked through everything that Barry taught. Of course, I missed some stuff, but the client didn't know that. And nothing. They were just like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's do that. And I was blown away. And I'm like, I cannot believe this worked.
It was fantastic. And I still look forward to our calls. So that was the first one. No objection. Which is the goal of the program, right? Which is the goal of every sales appointment, right? No objections. No, but the second.
So the second one, I did get an objection. And it's okay. I call Mark and I'm like kind of walking him through everything that happened. And then he was like, well, let's email Barry. If you invest in this with Barry, I can send Barry an email and I will get a response that day. And who else is going to take time to do that? I know he gave me a simple response yesterday to something, and now we're going to talk about that on the call. Because obviously things are going to come up that we're not prepared for. And kind of guided me through how I could have looped the wife back in so that I wouldn't have got that objection.
So, okay, your first appointment's August. What were your August numbers? Just in general, August life numbers, what did you write?
I had 8 policies pending. I think the total was like 5.3 million in coverage, and then it was like 7,200. Yeah.
So your first month using Barry, annualized, almost 3 times requirements for All American. 8 policies, we have. We have agents in our company that lose various tuition monthly in PC commission because they don't have 12. 8 policies. 7,200. How's that changing this agency?
It's changing everything. And now I will say, if a client doesn't want to do $1 million in coverage, I get a little pissy about that. Cause I'm like, you need more than $1 million in coverage. So Mary says, it's not that we're cocky, it's just that we've changed our mindset because we know what they need.
Isn't that amazing? So, Sharita has, for those of you who are skeptical or don't think that you're investing by hiring Barry, Sharita made more than half of the annual tuition back in 1 month. Tax deductible tuition amount. Barry's giving us a discount. She probably shouldn't have because it was worth every penny of it. How else has the Barry study group changed you as an advisor?
I feel like I'm doing what's right for the client. I'm not the client that called and said, I need $100,000 in coverage. Okay. I'm digging in better with them to actually give them the coverage that they need.
You had told me before that your confidence is 100 times higher than it was a year ago.
Okay.
How does that change your agency? How does that change how you feel about your career and your business?
I'm gonna succeed. That's what it's gonna do.
Awesome. Anyone can clap on that. Go ahead, react to it, or clap on that. Also, as we go, we have questions, but we're kind of moving along. If anyone has questions, comments, if you're skeptical, throw them in the chat. We'll address it, or she'll address it. You're not here to hear from me. Okay. Even though you don't have an All-American yet, you clearly built and are building a foundation for success. How would your definition of success, how do you personally define success now differently for yourself and your agency?
It's all just different. I being competitive, and Truvia has a huge team, but even like when you send out those quoting emails, I'm like, I have more pending than Truvia. Oh, so that's my own nemesis that I'm like, I know I can never compete on his scale, but if I can beat him in one area, that'd be great.
Awesome. And so then, I don't mean to keep harping on this, but you don't have any All-Americans. I assume that's a big goal now.
It's a goal, but it's not my big goal.
What's the big goal?
I want to write 100,000 in life in a year.
Interesting. Okay, so you'll get there. Okay, cover that. Okay, let's switch gears a little and get to another investment you made on the B file. How does that help you create client opportunities or secure your reviews in a more effective or efficient way?
Oh, they're amazing to work with. For those of you that are getting like a signed client, you literally can go into their website, upload it, they'll schedule the review. I don't know how many of you are familiar, so like if you have a bad number, they're gonna tell you, you can upload a correct number. If they're not interested, they're gonna tell you that. But anything that you want an appointment for, you literally can just send it over to them and they're gonna call them and voila. So my assistant left because she wanted to stay at home with her kiddos. So it's just me. I do not feel comfortable making those calls like to schedule a review because guess what? I'm on the phone and now they're like, well, I can just talk to you right now. I don't have time to talk to you right now. My point was calling you to schedule something. So I just let B-File do it and they get it on the books.
Excellent. How many appointments do they set for you?
It just depends on the week. Sometimes I might have 10 appointments in a week.
Okay. So do you limit them or do they ask you how many you want?
They try not to schedule more than 3 in a day. And if they accidentally do, they'll email me and say, is this okay or do we need to move it? And most of the time I just make it work.
Yeah. Good. Hey, you know what? Tell everyone about the how well that fits in with the 3 appointments, red and green appointments on the calendar. The idea that we have buried last week.
So if your B file, that would be like your blue appointment, for example. Then you have your meeting, then you're gonna turn that green because now it's your income loss replacement plan.
So Barry brought to our study group last week, the idea that, and you want to talk about something you can take back, and everyone on this call can start it 5 minutes after we're done today. Barry suggests that we all have 3 appointments on our calendar, and we make one for like 10 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock for an hour or an hour and a half. Just pre-book them with nothing on there and make them red on your calendar, and then when either you or your staff fills that in, you turn it green. So now you have 15 appointments blocked out on in your week, and it can move the times, but it just says haven't been there. And you can, at a quick visual, see how productive you're being. Is your week all red, or week all green, or do you still have some to fill? I got obsessed with that immediately. Okay, let me see.
So Chris, yes, I do use the assessment. This is where kind of the very training, I may end up scheduling an additional appointment to kind of go over some of that. Because I don't call it life insurance, period. So I schedule their income loss, foreclosure plan, whatever that is. That way I can, get into other things, because sometimes those calls take so long. The very calls when I'm doing just an income loss plan, I give myself a full hour to do those.
And talk about how you do appointments different now than you used to. Will you,
Oh, they
will you
both
do?
have to be on the call.
Okay. Husband and wife, and if you don't have both on a call,
I'm not doing it.
reschedule, cancel.
Schedule, yes. So I had one scheduled, last Tuesday at 6 p.m., which who wants to do an appointment that way? Who wants to do them on the weekend? But if that's the only time I can talk to them, guess what? It'll be a Sunday afternoon. I've been out fishing in the morning and then I scheduled this call, and then here I am texting Mark like, hey, 2 more apps are going in. So it's kind of a game at this point to see how much I can do.
It's fantastic. Tara, what happens is you make you can categorize your appointments on your calendar for any color you want. And so you can't so it shows up on your other calendar as red. And then when it's scheduled, when you put someone in there, I just scheduled Heather Crockett for a review at that time. Now I'm just going to go and recategorize it and turn it green. It's just a great visual on your calendar to see how productive that was. Yeah. Cherie also cut dove hunting short one day, an opening day for an appointment that was set. I felt committed.
That's good.
Okay. Where were we? Okay. Now you've done all these. Like someone asked where to find these programs, and we can get that, or Heather can put in all of our approved vendors. We all like to put something in here to show. Let's see. I found this great thing of Cherie. How she's changed what she does. How do I do this? And right here. Picture of Cherie now, how she's changed what she does. Rats.
If you are trying to share your screen, that button at the top that says share,
Yeah.
and then oh.
Let's see if that works. Okay, there's the difference between Cherie before and Cherie now.
Oh, Heather, that's a loaded question. How many hours per day?
No, yeah, per day.
It depends on the day. I will not leave here till after 5 because we have this call, Barry's call, another training call. And then I have 3 more meetings after this, and my last one's booked at 4:45, so. It'll be a hot minute.
And her boat mechanic just called, if the boat doesn't get fixed, you can't fish on Sunday.
Yeah.
Alright, okay. Change is not easy, it's not easy for anyone. I don't care what the change is. What roadblocks did you encounter when you decided it and Rich, I'm gonna change, I'm gonna do some things? What roadblocks did you encounter when implementing these tools, and how did you work through those roadblocks?
Well, as you stated, it's very easy to get distracted. So I had to just hone in and go, I have to do this. So I would block out time to do berry training or whatever it was. I had staff at the time to work directly with her. And for those of you that aren't familiar with berry, your whole entire staff can do the training for the same price. So now everybody's on the same page, everybody's saying the same things. I love that.
So, the berry training, the multi-line sales mastery is for you. And the coaching calls is for you and staff, but there's specific training inside of that you assign to your staff, whether the staff is a CSR or a subdivision, they get different training path with Barry. And the whole idea of Barry is we're gonna go through this 4 times in 1 year, because without repetition, it's not education. And there's so much that I personally go through it once or twice in a morning. Okay, maybe I'm not being clear on the, I know, sorry. So the point is, I don't know. Let's share my screen. I'll show you what my calendar looks like. Okay, everyone has their calendar marked, right? Here we are today, this training, and then we have our coaching training, and then we have our study group. You can see every morning I have time block, professional growth block, and that is that before I do anything, before I check my email, after I let the dogs out, I get on and I do the Barry Rutten training, and that's what we've all committed to in our study. The concept is that you would take and you would make 3 appointments like this, 10 a.m., 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and you would color code it. And there's title, it could be anything, waiting for government, waiting for, so then you go in here and you just make it red. Being read as recruiting, or no, it's market to business. And then after I set this, and it could be I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change it. Now I'm going to change it to green because for it's not working, but it's now it shows up as green on my calendar. So at a week at a glance, you can look and see that you have all red appointments for your day, or you change them to green and you've been more proactive. Either you or your staff has stuck a client or a prospect in there that you're going to be face to face with in a sales situation, a sales appointment. It could be quoting, it could be, well, we don't quote. So anyway, that's the idea. It's just time blocking and using the colors on your calendar as a quick glance to see if you're being productive or not. So Cherise, she has this morning, yes, how many hours in the morning, her growth block, and she has this, and then we have coaching, and then we have our study group, and then she'll have 3 green appointments for the clients or prospect that she's meeting with today. The concept is just, it's to kind of just give you a visual of how productive you're being for that day. I hope that. And we don't say, we never quote. Serena and I go, because quoting is, I get quotes from anyone. Okay, one more question. Oh, no, you talked about implementing these tools and working through them. It definitely takes diligence to do it. And hard work. That's routine. All right, address the people on here or anyone. If another agent is hesitant to invest in themselves or their agency, what advice would you give them about why it's worth it? You've stepped out there, and between these 3 folks, these three approved vendors, but anyway, these three vendors are spending $14,000 this year.
I don't even keep track of the money. It doesn't matter. It does not matter.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's a big commitment. So what advice would you give people when, if they say, gosh, that's a lot. Really? Do I really need Mary Rutten's program? I already sell 24 life policies a year.
It's not an expense, it's an investment. If you're doing 24 life policies a year, great, guess what? You have an opportunity to double that. I promise.
And relaxed, no objection part. Would you say, do you agree? Yeah.
And Julie, I do not have any assistance at the moment. I decided to pause that and just dig into the berry stuff. I have eFile doing my appointment for me. So I got my appointments and now I just do all the berry training with them.
Thanks. All right, looking ahead. What's your vision for your agency, the agency that you have now become proactive in designing and building? How do you see these investments shaping the agency over the next 2 to 3 years?
We won't be sitting here saying, oh, I did 100,000 a year. We'll do more than that. Just all about growing and investing more in yourself. Like, I promise, if you did 24 life policies this year and you did the berry training, maybe you did 24 next year, but your premium on them is twice as much. Or maybe you do 48 in a year. It won't be what you're doing today.
Let me point out, in Sherry's first month using Barry's, they're not techniques, it's just changing the way you're doing something. The $7,200 is great because it's paying back the tuition, it's an investment. Armando, you're 100% right. Doesn't matter if you spend 100,000, if you get 200 back, you're gonna invest it, right? It's about ROI, everything's about ROI. She wrote 8 policies for clients, but the face amount was $5.3 million. Think about that. We're in Claremore, Oklahoma, home of Will Rogers. But Cherie's doing more than All-Americans. She's doing more than, making sure you have enough life apps on the PC grid. She's making a difference in the community. $5.3 million is a difference in the community where she lives and works. That's fantastic. I would challenge anyone. Well, you know what I'd like to know from Country Life? I wonder what % of policies are written where we have to either justify the face cost or it's enough that the people want. I would bet, not that they want, that they need. I would bet 90% of what is written and submitted to Country Life is not what the client needs. And that's a pretty big difference when you're at home at night thinking about your satisfaction with your career and your business and your life, that you're making a real difference. In 1 month, $5.3 million of debt. If we hit on nothing else today, I think that deserves an applause for Cherie. Like I said, I'm just along for the ride. She did all this. I started jumping on, and she does it all. She's fantastic. She really changing how she runs her business, but changing the lives of people. Okay, so 2 or 3 years from now, you think you'll continue to use these programs, the vendors? For sure.
Well, always understand.
Why would I not pay? I think eFile, if I remember right, might be $500 a month. It might be a little bit more than that at the end of the day. It's priceless to me because they're scheduling my appointment. And when I ask for a certain amount, I get them. So I will always have them. It's cheaper than my staff was. Service work, that may wait till the end of the day. Like today, I am booked solid, so it'll either get done tonight or it'll have to wait till tomorrow morning. But these appointments are so important that my phone's on silent. I just can't look at anything else. I have to stay engaged with those clients for their benefit and mine. So.
All right, we're getting close to wrapping up. What are the best that's the list you sent to B-File.
So I send them all my reviews, and honestly, from the reviews, that's where I kind of plug in Barry's training. I had a call yesterday. They weren't expecting to talk about that, but guess what we talked about? And if they tell me no, I'm writing this, they will be crazy, but I think they'll do it. It's just, it's not like we're trying to manipulate them. We're not, my husband says, are you trying to trick them? No. It's literally just a different way of going through things and the questions that you have. And then like when you get that number, you're engaged with them, you're having a conversation. It's not just like asking a question, okay, this is what you need, are you ready to do it? No. He has a whole program of everything. I always use this as an example. I would overlook renter people. They don't own anything. Why am I gonna waste my time trying to sell them a life insurance policy? I cannot be the only one that's ever done this. However, in Barry's training, he has a whole system for them. And guess what I just did last month? 2 policies for renters insurance. And they rent, they don't own it, but he has something you can say to get them to do it. And they understand why they're doing it.
Let's take a look here at that. So if they're renters and they're just clients of yours, auto and renter policies.
Yeah.
And you did a review.
Yeah,
How old?
they're in their early 20s,
Okay. And they rent, how much debt do they have?
not much.
What's the face amount right now?
We're doing 300,000 for them. That's their starting point because they are on a budget. And I said, this is okay, let's start out with this. As you guys grow in your careers, then we're gonna review again next year and then we'll see where you're at if we need to add more.
That's, we can't ignore people because we assume.
He thinks that I'm on my way. I should, but I don't. I don't tell them any time frame, like, hey, I'll get back to you tomorrow or by the end of the day. I do my best to get back to everybody that day. So, you're right, they do have needs, but I was very guilty of just overlooking them because they didn't own a house that needed to have protection against it.
Cherie's clients need her, like your clients need you. And if we think back to what she invested in this year, when she became proactive, she invested in a system to help hire. She invested in a system to set appointments, have tracked run up with those appointments, gather information. But then she also invested in a system that's making her better. The multi-line sales mastery isn't necessarily, but it doesn't help you run your agency. It helps you help clients and be better at who you are, what you do. And if anyone has one takeaway from this, what I witnessed with Cherie, and she did tell me, she didn't have to tell me, I knew it. Her confidence is 100 times more than it was a year ago. We used to have conversations that said, I need some life.
Yeah.
Which is such a funny comment to say. You don't need some life. Your clients do. Yeah, you need life policies to validate your contract, but we don't have those conversations anymore. We have conversations on Sunday nights at 6 o'clock when she got off the boat early to meet with the client and write 2 more policies. And the change is refreshing and it's fun. She's just having more fun. Anything to add to that?
I just like to annoy you every time it's the weekend and I'm like, hey, do 2 more apps.
Yeah, ruins my
He said, never get tired of it. And I'm like, let's see.
I will never get tired. So if anyone doesn't have anything else, I have a couple closing remarks. I'll ask Cherie to close with some remarks as well, but we have another meeting to get on at noon and we have to walk next door and pick up our lunch first. So I want to thank Cherie for sharing your story and the steps that you've taken to invest in yourself and your agency. I hope everyone out here took some takeaway that you can take your agency to the next level like Cherie's doing. Oh, by the way, you could look up. She doesn't have all American numbers yet this year. We're talking about a process. We're talking about her getting to where she wants her agency to be. What stands out is that success doesn't come back come from sitting back and waiting on the market to turn for you. If anyone in here is waiting for the cavalry or some white knight or knight on a white horse to come and save you, it's not gonna happen. You gotta do this yourself. Comes from making deliberate choices, being proactive, putting in the work to build the agency that you want, the one that you thought you wanted when you came here. The agency of being an advisor and people coming to you and looking at you and respecting you. As I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite sayings is from Proverbs 10:4. Lazy hands make for poverty, but diligent hands bring wealth. No doubt how successful this woman in my right can be and how it's going to bring wealth to she and her family. I hold on to that personally as a reminder that diligence creates opportunity. After saying that, I believe that it is in everyone, and I believe that you can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't make both. Cherie's story today showed how applying that mindset in training, in recruiting, and building new prospecting channels creates confidence and long-term growth. I hope everyone on this call leaves inspired to think creatively, invest in themselves, take proactive steps to grow their business. Future belongs to those who, like Cherie, are going to choose to design it for themselves. I was honored to ask Cherie to be on this with me. I'm her biggest fan, her biggest cheerleader. I'll let her close this out. And if anyone has anything for her, I can't volunteer that she'll take your call or help you, but you can ask me to.
I will try. I'm always up for talking to people. My biggest thing is if you're interested in the berry, because the market is insane, we're all losing so much off the backside. Just make the investment. Do not stress about what it's going to cost you. Just do it. It will pay for itself. And yeah, I need some fishing trips too, some more of them.
Hey, Heather, I think do you have anything else?
Oh, Heather said she'll fight for biggest
For what?
being the biggest fan.
Okay. Cherie actually has fans in other states, and you know what? Hey, before we go, let's leave everyone with how you and Angela on that first appointment had your call and role playing working together. I love that story.
Yeah. So Angela and I were in She Has It group. We met down. Yes, I'm sorry. We met down at Enrich, and it was so nice. Like, we're not on video. We got to see each other face to face. I didn't know she was signing up for the very training, but we were both on it. I love Angela, so that I knew I was coming up to my first meeting, and I said, Angela, do you please have like 15, 20 minutes of time so I can kind of go over this, because she had already had a couple of meetings. She had one that day, I had one the next day. We both ended up writing policies, but it's just nice to have someone that's doing it with you. So you can kind of bounce ideas back and forth of what's working, what's not working, etc.
So, I mean, how great is that? That two people in the same program, not in the same state, not in the same district, and they got together and they role played it. And you know what the worst part of it is, and of all training is role playing, right? I mean, it's uncomfortable. It's
I did not want to do it.
no.
I would like to keep my camera off. I mean, I don't mind talking one-on-one, but really this makes me very uncomfortable. So when Mark said, do you want to do it? And I don't feel qualified to do it. I didn't feel like I deserved to do it. But I said yes, because again, it's just getting outside of my comfort zone. I have to push myself to do something that's uncomfortable.
They role played each individual appointments. They both had it the same day. And that was your first one, right? And that was Cherie wrote 2 for
1.3 million.
1.3 apiece on husband and wife. And Angela also had a successful appointment where she wrote 2 on a husband and wife for
I think it was 1.2 million.
1.2 million apiece. How great is that? Just encouraging each other across districts, across states. I love that part of the program. So that's all I got, Heather. I hope this was informative. I hope it's what you were looking for from us this week. Hope everyone else got what they wanted out of it too.
It was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Great job.
Thanks.
See ya.